Welcome to Politics Now. I'm Mark Skonecki. Today we're going to be talking about the Florida Legislature's impending adjournment. And secondly, Alan Grayson has an ethics investigation against him, and we'll look at how this affects him. But first, let's do the headlines. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton both had sweeping victories on Super Tuesday. That's helped build their momentum even stronger in the Republican and Democratic parties. Meantime, the revolt against Donald Trump has some Republicans saying that they're never going to vote for him or never support him, even if he is the nominee. And finally, Carlos Barruf, who is a Southwest Florida home builder, has announced that he is going to run for the U.S. Senate seat that Marco Rubio is giving up. And now let's talk about Alan Grayson. There's a congressional ethics investigation against him, which is causing him some pain as he tries to get ready to run for the United States Senate. With me today is Steve Lemongello, our politics reporter. So Steve, fill us in. What's going on with Mr. Grayson?
Well, sure. There's been an ethics investigation since January, at least in the full committee, against whether Alan Grayson used his hedge fund, the Grayson Fund, and whether he used his status as a congressman to solicit investors and investments for that fund. And since then, Harry Reid, the Senate Minority Leader, has said that someone like that, who has dealt with some investments in places and the quote unquote where there's blood in the streets and possibly taking advantage of countries that are having difficult problems, should be in the Senate at all. Also, President Obama just yesterday endorsed his opponent Patrick Murphy. And Joe Biden will be campaigning with Murphy later this month.
Sounds like a pretty rough couple of weeks for Grayson then. So what does Grayson have to say about all this?
Well, Grayson, as he usually does, has been firing back in fundraising appeals. He's called the Democrats the Politburo. He quoted The Wire saying, "If you come at the king, you best not miss." He even threw in The Simpsons there. And also he says that he's had some of the best fundraising days and months that he's had in years.
So how does this all get resolved?
Well, April 5th is the day that the Ethics Committee has to make a decision. Now, punishment of the Ethics Committee of fellow congressmen has been sort of iffy recently. It hasn't really happened too often, but no matter what, they must release the documents for the investigation. So there's going to be a lot of things to look through in that. That's
great, Steve. Thanks very much. I'm sure you'll be keeping track of it. Now, moving on, let's talk about the legislature, which is hurtling towards its final week. They're supposed to wrap up not tomorrow, but next Friday. They've got the budget to figure out and a few other things. Gray Rohr, who is our Tallahassee correspondent, filed this report from the Capitol.
Hi, this is Gray Rohr reporting from the Capitol in Tallahassee, where lawmakers are putting the final touches on a $80 billion budget that really cuts down on Governor Rick Scott's top priorities of $250 million in economic incentives and $1 billion in tax cuts. Under the final deal that's still being discussed by lawmakers, it includes zero money for economic incentives and just $400 million in tax cuts. It remains to be seen how Governor Rick Scott will treat that with his veto pen once he gets the final budget. Last year he vetoed more than $450 million in local projects, including the UCF downtown campus. For OrlandoSentinel.com, I'm Gray Rohr.
Thanks, Gray. Now comes the fun part of the show.
Yay,
hi, Kayla.
Hello.
Kayla O'Brien's going to talk to us a little bit about what's going on with social media and politics.
Yes, my favorite part. And last week we had one more candidate to talk about. Now Ben Carson's out, so we're going to narrow down the field. And I have a feeling this is going to happen week after week. So let's start with their Twitter videos. So some of the candidates are starting to post these videos to their Twitter accounts, kind of what you would see on TV, these political ads, but now they're using this outlet, Twitter, in a different way. So first up is Hillary Clinton, and she's got kind of a positive vibe, very short, very sweet, kind of showing her demonstrations, her fans. She always puts her, what's a little pause, but she always puts her subtitles so that you don't even have to listen to the volume to understand what's going on, and that's a popular tip now. Oh, some people are texting me. Next up is Bernie Sanders. He's kind of thrown it back, showing how much experience he has in his political career. He's got pictures of him as a child, running track. I mean, he's really showing that he's been around for a long time, and he's one of the older candidates now. So he has been in this political arena for a long, long time, and he's not going anywhere. So that's his kind of take on these videos. What do you think the difference between the two of those so far? Do you think one's going to do better than the other?
Well, I think probably shorter's better on Twitter.
Shorter's better.
But
I
it
agree.
seems, it's fascinating to me, having covered a lot of elections, that, that this medium can work for video too. I wouldn't have thought that.
Sure, yeah, that's the new thing is video. Everyone's pushing these videos. I mean, these are really well-produced videos too to put on social media. They're not putting all this money into shows on TV anymore. So this one I think is pretty good. Let me pause this one. So John Kasich kind of took a different, more rock and roll approach to his video. So here it is. You can kind of hear it in the background. It's more of like a country vibe, like he's doing his thing. It's kind of almost like a rock star type mentality. He's got music in the background. He's got these moving photos. So he's trying to, I think, appeal to that hipper population, someone that follows videos a lot, has a short attention span. His is also pretty short, about 20 seconds, 22 seconds. So he's really appealing to that social media audience. And finally, we have Donald Trump's video. Now, he just posted this last night. He doesn't actually appear in the video at all. He's using his time to kind of make Mitt Romney sound a little silly. As you know, earlier today, Mitt Romney stepped up and said he is not supporting Trump whatsoever. So now Donald is responding and saying, well, look what he said about me before. He praised me for a long time on his policies back when he was running. We're not exactly what you should vote for today. So it's interesting. Romney's not even in the race this year, and he's getting more exposure than some of our other politicians are that are actually in this race.
He's
So
not in the race yet. There's still a chance he
you
might
think
be. There's a
oh.
chance at a brokered convention that he could be involved. That's what some people are thinking.
Okay, that's interesting. So maybe he's trying to get a leg up on that and cut him out right away.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so that's the videos. And these are a couple interesting tweets that I found also. This is Marco Rubio, and he is going full force against Trump this time around. Here's a kind of a funny photo. One of the fans in the audience had this sign that says, "Boyfriend prefers Trump. I'm single now." And that kind of brings me to my next point, are these hashtags. Now I tweeted this out a couple minutes ago. These are the 4 top hashtags I found while I was looking this week. So the first one is Marco-mentum, and that's how Marco Rubio is gaining momentum, if he is, his supporters believe he is. I've been seeing that one a lot. Marco also started Never Trump, and that's one we were talking about earlier, that he's telling Republicans to use this tweet and this hashtag to say, well, no matter what, I'm not voting for him. It's better to vote for Marco, because Republicans are very split on their support of Trump. So that one we're going to keep seeing for a long time. But on the other end of things, you could be on the Trump train. So you're jumping on, you're going to support Trump 100%. And like we said, there's no real in between that. You're either on the Trump train or never Trump. I don't know anyone that's like, well, I might like him, I don't know. It's pretty much black and white with that one. And then Choose Cruz, that's a new one. His old one was the Cruz Crew. He's kind of taking a break from that and using Choose Cruz as his hashtag. So those are my favorite. And then finally, Cruz has been pretty quiet on social media. This is the best one I could find. He's eaten some barbecue at a restaurant in Kansas while he was out campaigning. So this one showing that he's a likable guy, shaking some hands, eating some BBQ. I don't know what he got, but he's probably pretty hungry from campaigning all this week. So that's what I got for social media. It's pretty exciting stuff. We're going to see, I think, in the next few weeks or so, less and less that we're going to have to be discussing and more about head-on Twitter wars.
It's going to get really intense real quick, especially here in Florida, because we've got the primary coming up on the 15th. Well, thank you so much, Kayla.
Thank you.
I am Mark Skonecki, and you've been watching Politics Now. Stay in touch with all the political news at OrlandoSentinel.com and by reading the Orlando Sentinel. Thanks for joining us.